Why do some feminists feel liberal feminists aren't critical enough of male domination of family life and society more generally? By the end of this video, you're going to be able to answer that question and give an outstanding definition of a liberal feminist view of the family, along with 2 evaluations. Tom from the SOCIOLOgy here. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get started. They believe in something called the March of Progress, that the legal reforms passed by the government over the last 50, 60 years have improved women's rights in the workplace and in society more generally, and that has led to more equality in the family. Men and women are going to be doing more equal share of domestic chores. Women are going to have more say in the decision-making process. Liberal feminists argue that over time, because of these legal changes in wider society, boys and girls will be brought up differently. They're going to be socialised into different values. So in today's society, you might grow up with your mum being the major breadwinner and your dad being a stay-at-home dad. So March of Progress. Liberal feminists believe, gender equality is improved in the wider society and in the family. So let's think about some of those key laws. The Divorce Reform Act 1969 significantly widened the grounds for divorce. It allowed people to get a divorce based on irreconcilable differences, i.e. differences they were never going to make up. So a woman could go to court and pick one of the following reasons as evidence of irreconcilable differences. So the first one was adultery, which simply means cheating; desertion, which means they've been left by their partner; separation means they're no longer living together, and if they've done that for over 2 years, they can get a divorce based on those grounds. But the most common reason by far is unreasonable behaviour, and this could include a very wide range of things. For example, we've stopped socialising together, he's emotionally cold to me. It could be a very broad range of behaviours. What we need to remember is once this law was passed, the divorce rate shot up. Very, very steeply it went up. Women are also entitled to a share of the property too. So previously it was harder for a woman to divorce because they would have been left without a home, without money. Now, of course, men could start divorce proceedings too, but a way to evaluate this change in the law is that the majority of divorce proceedings are started by women, and that has been the case historically too. So we could argue here that men know a divorce is possible, so it could potentially change their behaviour and result in more equal marriages, and of course it's given women the power to leave unhappy marriages. So second law, 1972, the Equal Pay Act. So women are legally entitled to the same pay as men for the same job. This means women are less financially dependent on husbands and more likely to prioritise a career over traditional gender roles, which of course is going to lead to more equality in the home and changing of roles, attitudes, etc. Now this is easy to evaluate because of course women are still paid less than men for the same roles. This is still widespread and common, and it's particularly true for older women. So the 30s, 40s, 50-year-old women, you see strong evidence of gaps and differences in what men and women are paid for the same work. Remember, the big criticism of liberal feminism is they're not critical enough of the social attitudes and structures that keep women in an inferior position. So you can be quite strongly critical here and say, yes, the law has changed, but it's not properly enforced, and perhaps that's evidence of a patriarchal social structure which keeps men in a superior position. However, sociologists such as Gashuni have shown that when women work full-time, domestic chores, i.e. household tasks, are shared much more equally. So put simply, women who are in paid work have much more equal relationships, and this strongly supports a liberal feminist view that legal changes outside the home result in more equal relationships, families, and the changing of gender roles. Now, the criticism of a liberal feminist view is they're far too positive. They ignore the deep structural issues which lead to women's oppression in the family and in society. So, for example, they argue these legal changes are going to change attitudes and change roles. Other feminists would disagree with that. Radical feminists would say that is not going to happen. There's a more fundamental problem, which is men themselves and the culture which has been created, which allows men to dominate and still oppress women in the workplace, in the home. The second criticism is it's ethnocentric. Ethnocentric means it's coming from one ethnic viewpoint. The criticism of liberal feminism is that it's a white middle class feminism. It's talking about people whose lives may well have improved from all these legal changes, but actually there's a huge number of women from different roles, different backgrounds. These legal changes haven't led to less oppression in family life. There are 4 types of feminism you need to know if you're studying A-level sociology. Click on my Theories of the Family playlist to see the rest of them, along with all the other theories of the family, Marxism, functionalism, etc. Or start watching the Feminist View of the Family video on the screen right now.